Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Today is Wednesday. It's the first day of May, and today is May Day. You usually do May Day baskets, don't you?
Those
are fun.
I love May Day.
Also, National Skilled Trades Day. So if you want to make a better living than minimum wage, then get a trade, like get a skill, learn how to do something, and be the best at it. And you'll be able to earn to the highest potential. Skilled Trades Day today. National Loyalty Day, National Mother Goose Day, National Chocolate Parfait Day, Law Day, School Principals Day, and Silver Star Service Banner Day. All of those things happening on this Wednesday. And I'm going to talk to a gold miner. I don't know if I've ever had a gold miner on the program. Can you think of a time we've had a gold miner?
I don't believe so, no.
We've got gold miner Parker Schnabel joining us. Going to talk about the third season of Gold Rush, Parker's Trail. Going to see if he'll give me a nugget of gold, or at least a nugget of knowledge as we talk about it.
I'd rather have the gold.
Oh, yeah. But the nugget of knowledge would be nice as well. It's on Discovery Channel. It's one of the top shows. We're going to chat with him in a bit.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com, a career cast survey named Taxi Driver as the worst profession in the United States. Do you think that would be the worst?
I wouldn't think so, but I guess I don't know. I've never done it for a living, so it may be just awful. I
wonder if that is because Uber and Lyft and those kind of things are taking a bite out of their business.
Yeah,
you think that's why?
I have no idea.
Because I don't understand why that'd be so bad, but I don't know. I've never said, I want to be a taxi driver, but I've never not wanted that. It's not like it's a bad thing.
I can honestly say I've never thought about it at all.
I know we've got some taxi drivers who listen to the program, so thank you so much for listening. We love you. I don't know what this survey is all about, but I have a link to it in the show notes at john@heidishow.com. Credit cards. They can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. And this is Your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by timeforrehab.com. Deputies in Alabama say a man who ran from approaching deputies told them he was in a hurry to take care of his hogs. That's why he ran. Yeah, sure. They pulled over 47-year-old Gary Wayne Rowell. He got out of the vehicle and ran into an open field. When they finally caught him, they said, hey, what's going on? He said, I'm in a hurry to feed and water my hogs. And that's when they found a bunch of crystal meth that he had on him. So, yeah, that's why he was running, to feed and water the hogs. Booked into the jail on possession of drug charges. Was released April 13th, so he's back out already. On a $2,500 bond. So there you go. Bad idea. That is the kind of thing that happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. The Avengers. How much money do you think they've made so far?
Oh my gosh, it's got to be ridiculous.
This movie has made over $900 million, and that was just the weekend receipts worldwide. $900 million in the debut weekend, on pace to become the highest-grossing sequel of all time. That is amazing.
I just don't get it. Do you?
No.
I mean, I'm not into those
No, but that's
movies.
the thing. If you were into that, you'd get it. But you're not into that, so that's why you don't get it. And those who are into comics, this is a big deal to them. It's because there's a bunch of different characters that all come together.
I know there are a bunch of people freaking out about it.
One of my favorite things I did is I posted a thing on Facebook and said, okay, let's do a spoiler, but don't spoil this movie, spoil a different movie. And then people were putting like endings to other movies, but it was on an Avengers post. It was actually really funny. Okay. So kudos to everybody who chimed in on that. And the White House Correspondents' Dinner went off over the weekend. This is the first time ever, first time in 50 years where they did not have a comedian at the dinner.
Well,
so.
because it failed so miserably.
Yeah, it did
last
not
time.
go well
Bad
last year.
idea.
So I don't know. That's going to do it for Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, your scoop of the day brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A group of parents have voted to keep Michael Jackson's name on that Hollywood elementary school despite his past scandals. I am absolutely shocked. We talked about this on the program yesterday, and I was thinking that for sure, this happened in Hollywood. I thought in Hollywood, for sure, they would say, no, we need to remove his name there.
No, not when it's one of their own.
Okay, well, I'm shocked, but I'm also kind of going, if he gave a bunch of money to this school, if he did,
it was his money and it should stay there.
and
Absolutely.
they took the money and they put his name on it. I don't know. I guess I don't know exactly what all the details are and how everything happened. I do have a link to that if you want to read all about it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Now, I have not gotten, I'm not against Legos. I love Legos, but I've not built anything spectacular. Have you ever used Legos to build something amazing?
Yeah, my stuff was awesome.
Didn't you make the family
family car.
the family car?
Yes, I
So
did.
she made a car out of all of the Legos? Is that what it was? You just put wheels on the bottom of everything?
Put Legos on the bottom of the grass, of the big grass piece, and then I put all sorts of Christmas trees and random stuff
And your
on
brother
top of
got
it.
mad at you every time?
Oh, my brother was so mad. He
And then-
hated playing with me because he would always spend hours making these rocket ships, and I'd spend like 2 minutes. I'm like, let's play. I'm ready.
Let's do this. So Heidi has not changed, in other words. But I think it was very clever. How old were you when you came up with the family
I think
car?
maybe 10.
So she made up a fictitious family with the name, their last name was Family. So then it was the family car. I think that's hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious.
I think it was. Well, a Danish superfan has created a Lego replica of Elvis Presley's Graceland mansion. Now, if this concept gets 10,000 votes, Lego will make this an official kit. They'll build an official Graceland toy where you can go through and buy all of the certain blocks to build a Lego Graceland. Do you think there's a lot of kids out there?
Probably
that are,
not a lot of kids, but
that
I
are
bet there are a
saying-
lot of adults that will buy it.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how that'll go. 10,000 votes is all it takes. So, reason I'm bringing that up, I think Heidi needs to create a family car Lego kit. And we should push this through the Lego powers that be to try to get that voted as an actual
That
kit.
would be so fun.
Your brother, and then give it to your brother for Christmas.
Maybe I just buy all the stuff and make my own kit, make my own box, and put the label on it and give it to him for
The
Christmas.
family
I think
car.
I'm going to do that.
And you know what? You shouldn't make it from Legos. You should use a generic version. I met a dude. I did an interview with a guy that has a. I shouldn't say generic version. It's just not a Lego version. It's a different company. But we'll have to get back to you. Get back to you on that one. Let's move on here before we get in too much trouble. A California State Senate vote. They have voted to ban schools from using. Let me try this again. To ban schools from suspending students who willfully disobey their teachers and act out in class. So the state senate has voted to make it okay for kids to willingly disobey teachers and act out in class. I can't even imagine how bad things will get if the kids know that, hey, there are no consequences.
Well, it's already gotten bad because there are hardly any consequences.
Well, I've got a link to the story if you want to read all the details on that, but I think that is probably something that we should all be a little concerned about, and I guess we'll find out how that all goes. And one last story here. A Florida judge has ruled that the video of Robert Kraft at the Florida massage parlor will be released, but it will be released after he's been afforded a fair trial. Who wants to see that video? I don't want to see that.
I have no interest.
And there apparently is like cries from the public. I'm doing air quotes when I say the public that
Yeah.
say they want to see this video. Why? You know what happened? You don't need to see the video. I don't know. That's weird. This is today's Scoop of the Day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today, we've got a guest from the Discovery Channel, the hit series Gold Rush, Parker's Trail. They just traveled to Papua New Guinea for their third season on Discovery, and we have Parker joining us right now. Parker Schnabel, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing, John?
Fantastic. Now, are you at the mine right now? Is that correct?
Yeah, we're just getting going, geared up for another mining season here in the Yukon, and we just got back from Papua New Guinea a little while ago, and, no rest for the wicked, right?
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing that's really cool. For people who have not had a chance to see this, gold mining is a lot different than it was, back in the olden times. You guys have got some pretty cool tools now, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We're lucky enough that we don't have to do everything by hand like the old-timers did. It's a brutal way of mining, and it's a tough way to put food on the table, that's for sure. I've been around hundreds of people that mine by hand on these trips that we've been going on. Last year we were in Guyana, South America. This last year we just got back from Papua New Guinea. And the guys there that have to mine by hand, oh, God, it's brutal.
What was it the first got you interested in being a miner, and how did you very first start doing all this?
I grew up mining with my grandpa, yeah. And so I've been doing it ever since I can remember. Spending time at the mine site, sat on his lap, trying to work the controls. It was part of the family. And so I've always been into it.
You just got back from Papua New Guinea. How different is the situation for miners there than it is where you're used to mining?
The mining in PNG is like stepping back in time 100 years, basically. Like they hardly had any equipment, very little infrastructure. A lot of them they'd have or something, a little 2-inch or 3-inch pump, but like to get gas or fuel for it, they'd have to walk like a day to the village and a day back carrying a jug for fuel,
That is absolutely insane compared to the way, when your company is out doing things. It's a lot easier typically, isn't it?
Oh, I make a phone call and they bring me a B train, which is like, 10,000 gallons of fuel the next day.
Yeah.
It's just, the difference is just unbelievable. And it's really cool to, it's a great opportunity to be able to go see that and put those kind of things into perspective, right? It's really easy to start taking the advantages we've got and the infrastructure in place for granted,
So you've had a chance now, 3 seasons that you've been doing this. You've had a chance to do some mining in Guyana. You've just recently got back from Papua New Guinea. Is there a place in this world where you're saying, this is where I really want to go next?
We always look at what's out there and what options, and part of these trips is to see what mining opportunities are out there and to try to find unmined, untouched ground that doesn't have access, that doesn't have the infrastructure into it. And so we will continue to push the limits of where you can go as far as safety and where you can get to as far as access goes, and we'll continue to push those limits. And Papua New Guinea was, it's pushing the limits as far as what's safe and what's reasonable as far as where. But we ended up in some very difficult and a couple of very dangerous situations while we were there, and it was a little hairy for sure.
So for maybe youngsters listening that think, boy, this looks like a lot of fun and I want to become a miner, any advice to those people that are listening right now?
Maybe don't start in a third world country. You can come up to Boston and come take a tour of our mine site before you make any other decisions there, because there's not a lot of glamour in it. It's a lot of hard work.
Well, thank you so much for doing what you do to share it with the world and let folks know just what that life is like. And again, the program just recently back on Discovery Channel for the 3rd season. We'll get all the details here in a moment. But Parker, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Hey, thanks for for having me, John.
Again, the hit series Gold Rush is back on Discovery Channel. It returns on Fridays. It just started Friday, April 5th, but they're back for season number 3 on Discovery Channel, Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. All of the details in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Pi was almost legally defined as 3.2. Legislators in Indiana came close to legally redefining the value of pi. I don't know how you would do that. The beloved number of geometrists, I didn't know that was a word, begins with 3.14 and then just goes on for a long time.
And people are pretty obsessed with that number.
Well, they said we should just round up to 3.2 and call it good. Well, wouldn't you round down if it's 3.14? I don't understand. So anyway, the reason for doing this, and it says apparently the bill surprisingly got very far in the legislation process, but it was stopped by the time it got to the Senate. So it did not pass. But for those of you who are big fans of pi, I know several people that have the whole number memorized, 3.1465. I don't have it, so I can't go there. But it was almost legally redefined as 3.2. So there you go. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. That's a fun fact for today. Credit cards. They can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. Heidi, taphephobia. 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 No, tapophobia. I guess that second P is part of the phobia part. Tapophobia. Tapephobia.
I'm going to say it's fear of too much foam on your beer.
No, that would be good, though. That would be a good fear to have, and it would make sense.
I have that fear.
It's a fear of being buried alive or a fear of cemeteries in general?
Oh, I have the fear of being buried. That would be awful. That's
that
why I
would
be cremated. I'd rather be burned alive than buried alive because it'd be quicker.
What?
I mean, if you're still alive and you got to do one or the other,
I think by the
go
time
for the cremation.
By the time you get to that process, after embalming and everything.
But then how would you be buried? I mean...
But this is the fear of being buried alive, not the fear of being buried like in a casket, just being buried alive. It's today's fun. Wow. Fun with phobias. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. An Arizona mother was arrested for allegedly assaulting her son for not, quote, keeping a good enough lookout for grandma while she shoplifted. What? 27-year-old Rebecca Gonzalez was taken into custody because witnesses saw her beating her 7-year-old son. He walked out of a Walmart, and they were in the parking lot, and that's when she was spanking the boy and slapping him around, and then finally punched him in the face.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa.
that's not cool at all. He told investigators he was hit because he, quote, didn't watch out for grandma good enough. She was shoplifting inside. Gonzalez was charged with aggravated assault and reportedly scheduled to appear in court for a preliminary hearing on April the 30th, which was, I guess, Monday.
You better
Tuesday.
take that boy to safety.
That is a bad idea, that whole thing. I just don't understand that, but it's definitely falls under the category of weird news. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now, your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Authorities say a Georgia man allegedly set his former mansion on fire a few months after the residence went into foreclosure. Here's why. Stanley Steffens, with the help of Donald Llewellyn, set fire to a 5,900 square foot mansion in Rome. Don't know if that... No, it's Rome, Georgia.
Okay.
February 10th. Nobody was hurt in the fire, thank goodness. Both were charged with first-degree arson. Local, state, and federal agencies spent 300 hours looking into the blaze to figure out why in the heck this happened. We guesstimate about $2.5 million has been involved in this case so far. It's one of the largest arson cases they're aware of. And it says here that they're still not exactly sure why he did it. Both are expected to be extradited. More charges against the pair are pending. But he was kicked out. His home was foreclosed. He just decided, hey, if I can't have it, nobody can. Right. So he just decided to burn it down. So.
Yeah, that's probably not a very good idea.
It's not a good solution.
He's probably going to have a place to stay for quite a while.
Room and board and all that's going to be covered for a bit.
Meals.
Yeah, this is today's Moment of Duh.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these three things, Heidi, tell me if you can tell me what these three things have in common. Now, I'm going to tell you, you have to put a word behind each of them for them to make sense. So, black, blank, pot, blank, donut, blank.
Hole.
Yes! Good job. You're good at these. You're really good at these. Black hole, pot hole, donut hole. That's these three things.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. Comes your way courtesy of bettercreditcards.net. Take a listen to this. Hundreds of students give one final wave goodbye to the grandmother, wasn't really their grandmother, but it was a grandmother, who waved to them every single morning.
I think I've seen this.
Hundreds of students in British Columbia walked to an elderly woman's home Thursday to show their appreciation and give her one more wave goodbye.
Aww.
Tinny Davidson, 88, has been waving to the students on their way to school for the last 12 years. She and her late husband Ken started waving to the teenagers after the couple moved into the house in 2007. Soon the students were waving back. But Davidson won't be in that window when the kids go to school much longer. She's heading to an assisted living center.
Oh.
So more than 400 kids came to her house to give her one more wave goodbye.
Listen to you choking up. Your voice is cracking.
I just think that's really cool. Don't you? You don't think
Not
it's
enough
cool?
to cry about
I
it.
just think
I mean,
that's
it's
really
cool. They came to
sweet.
her house and waved at her. I don't know why you're crying.
You leave me alone. You're kind
You're
of mean.
such a softie.
Oh, so-
You had to take your glasses off to wipe your eyes. That's so funny. Oh, sometimes I wish we had a webcam in here.
This is why we don't. And this shirt is another reason we don't. I would have to dress up and look presentable and stuff. No, it says it was really cool. I just think that's amazing. So she made the decision a long time ago to spend her morning waving at the kids on their way to school. That gave her something to do and something to look forward to. But the kids looked forward to it as well, and they waved. And look what a difference it made. All these kids, as far as the eye can see, 400 kids, more than 400 kids, came to wave at her one last time.
Yeah. Are you okay? You gonna be all right?
You're choking up over there now, too, aren't you?
No, I'm laughing and I've got tears coming down my face because you're freaking
that's
hilarious.
that's what I'm laughing. Mine are tears of joy as well. So. I've got a link to that story if you want to get choked up.
Oh, God.
All right. Unless you're heartless like Heidi, then maybe you won't.
It's cool, but I'm not going to cry.
Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.